All right, we are here to get to know Dave Brown, producing branch manager of First Class Lending. Uh, Dave, how long have you been in mortgage lending?
I've been in mortgage lending since I got out of college in 1985, so that puts us at 35 years.
All right, and how did you get started?
So in college, I was working at a teller, worked at a few different banks, and the last bank that I worked at as I was getting ready to graduate was the first bank where we had a loan officer that worked in the branch. And my goal prior to that was I wanted to be a financial planner, stockbroker kind of person, and I started getting to know this loan officer a little bit and noticed that, he'd saunter in around 10 o'clock in the morning and he wore really nice suits and he drove a really beautiful Cadillac and just was a nice guy, seemed happy, upbeat. I started talking to him about what he did and he shared with me, and one day he said, Dave, you should look into this. I think you would do well with it. And I literally went home and crossed off on my goals that I'd written down, no longer to be a financial planner stockbroker, but to be a loan officer. And here's the power of goals, folks. Literally a week later, a fraternity brother who graduated a little bit ahead of me and was out in the workforce working as a loan officer called me and said, "Hey Dave, my branch manager just said he's looking for one more loan officer. I thought of you, and would you like to come in and interview?" I had told nobody about that, yet that happened and the rest is history.
Wow, and what do you like about it?
I think what I like about it, there's a few things I like. Number one is it's very flexible. It's basically being in business for yourself without being in business by yourself. So it's flexible in terms of scheduling. And when my kids were younger, I could go to a lot of their events, camp out, sporting events, things like that. And also in terms of working with clients, you're working with somebody with a very, very important decision. Probably the largest financial decision most people will make is the home that they buy and the financing they use to buy that home. So we get to help people with that. We get to help talk to them about other financial issues, help them build net worth, introduce them to CPAs, financial planners, and others. And so that's really satisfying. And we're just blessed that we get a lot of really great clients that say, thank you for helping us, and refers their friends and family. And so it's just a really rewarding career.
That's great. And speaking of family, tell us about yours.
Another blessing. I think that is one of life's greatest blessings here while we're on planet Earth. My wife and I have 5 kids. We are second marriage. She has 2 kids. I have 3 kids. They are mostly all adult and grown. We now have our first grandchild, which is a lot of fun. The best part is you get to give them back when you're done. I like that part. She's super cute, super happy. And if possible, next time around, I'd have the grandkids first. No, I'm just kidding. I love my children. And all 5 of them live locally, so we get to see them a lot. And of course, my wife and I get to spend a lot of time together now. We're quasi-empty nesters. We have one left in the house, and she's finishing up her schooling, and then we'll be empty nesters down the road.
All right, and what do you like to do when you're not working?
When I'm not working, I would say there's a couple things that I enjoy a lot. We live in a real pretty golf course community, and the funny thing is we've lived there for, let's see, 9 years, and until recently we didn't even figure out that we could take walks on the golf course. My wife actually introduced us to that just a couple months ago. So we were doing a lot of walking, but just on the streets in the neighborhood. Now we walk through the golf course, and it's beautiful. So I really love doing that with her. I love golfing. Got a group of golf buddies that I try to get out, a couple times a month. And then we have another nice group of friends that we like to go wine tasting, go out to dinner, things like that. We're blessed with a really great social network of friends.
That's great. I heard that you are also a coach for loan officers. Tell me about that.
I am. I kind of out of the blue, I got a phone call a few years back, and I was asked if I'd be interested in being a coach, and I asked what that meant and found out a little bit about it. And it's with Todd Duncan through High Trust Coaching, and Todd is a an icon in the mortgage industry, and I thought, if I could associate with him and what he's part of, that would be awesome. And it was a way for me to give a little bit back to an industry that's been really, really good to me, and meet some other great people in this industry, other fellow coaches that have become friends, and of course, hanging out with Todd once in a while. That's been a blessing, and it's really been a lot of fun and a great privilege.
Great. And lastly, a bit of advice. What would you tell someone who was thinking about buying their first home?
That is a great question, and part of this I think people are not going to want to hear, but do not ever take financial advice from somebody who is not where you would like to be financially when you are their age. And I see that all the time, and it's a hard thing to do, but when your uncle, aunt, mom, dad, brother, sister find out that you're buying a home and they want to offer all their advice, that may be great if they're financially very successful, but if they're not, I would be careful, is what I would say. That to me just kind of makes sense. Number two is align yourself with a professional who can help you walk through the process and get started early. So number one, you can see what the numbers look like from a budget standpoint, because you may think you only qualify for X and you qualify for 2X. And it allows you to get into a bigger, better home if you're comfortable with that. Number two, there may be some challenges that time will allow us to fix, such as credit, or maybe saving a little more for a down payment or paying off some debt. So listen to the right people, I guess, is the bottom line. It would be my advice.
That's great. Thank you so much. Any parting words?
Cheers.